You think you absolutely dominate the room because you always guide the conversation. You genuinely believe that jumping in to perfectly fill an awkward pause makes you a charismatic, highly assertive leader. Let's strip away your ego and look at the absolute clinical reality right now. You are completely terrified of absolute silence, and your primitive brain is desperately begging for cheap crumbs of social validation. Modern society loves to glorify the loud, hyperverbal man. You have been heavily conditioned by self-proclaimed alphas and aggressive podcasters to believe that whoever speaks the most, argues the loudest, and effortlessly gets the last word is the ultimate apex predator of the group. That is a massive biological illusion carefully designed to keep you exhausted. For elite high performers and true Stoic operators, the clinical truth is significantly darker and much more uncomfortable. Your absolute inability to sit quietly in a dead silent room without immediately checking your smartphone, making a sarcastic joke, or forcing a meaningless conversation is a massive biological red flag. It is a highly accurate symptom of severe internal fragility. You are not leading the interaction. Your central nervous system is violently panicking. By the end of this deep, uncompromising psychological breakdown, I am going to completely destroy your fragile illusion of confidence. You will discover the exact neurobiological reasons why your nervous system violently short-circuits when you are ignored. And I will hand you the highly classified Stoic blueprint the top 1% uses to entirely conquer the void and build an unbreakable, silent mental fortress. Listen to me very carefully, because your specific neuroplastic window to permanently fix this massive vulnerability is rapidly closing. Every single day you break the silence to desperately seek attention from average minds, you are permanently wiring your brain to remain a highly reactive, insecure slave to the crowd. The biological damage of needing constant external validation compounds aggressively hour by hour, completely draining your baseline dopamine. If you choose to click off this video right now, you are consciously choosing to remain weak, highly predictable social prey forever. Master this brutal clinical truth today and build your impenetrable Stoic fortitude, or permanently surrender your mind to the endless, exhausting noise of society. The difference between confidence and panic. Let us clinically dissect the fundamental biological difference between true, unshakable confidence and primal panic. In the animal kingdom, the weak prey animal makes constant, erratic noise to ensure it still successfully belongs to the safety of the herd. If the herd ignores it, it gets left behind and it dies. The apex predator, however, operates in absolute, chilling, terrifying silence. When you constantly inject yourself into conversations, dramatically raise your voice to be heard, and aggressively demand the spotlight, you are acting entirely on a primitive prey instinct. You are broadcasting a massive, pathetic signal to everyone around you. Please acknowledge my existence so my brain knows I am safe. When a deeply insecure man is faced with profound, heavy silence, his amygdala instantly hijacks his entire central nervous system. His cortisol levels violently spike. His heart rate accelerates. His breathing becomes shallow. He biologically perceives the lack of social feedback as a literal physical threat to his survival. That is not dominant confidence. That is an automated, panic-induced survival mechanism running on severely outdated neurological software. You are sweating because the tribe is not giving you your neurochemical pacifier. True Stoic power operates on a vastly superior, almost alien neurological baseline. A truly untouchable mind requires absolutely zero external permission to exist. When the room goes dead silent, the elite thinker does not physically flinch. His heart rate remains perfectly flat. He leans back. He passively observes the chaos of the average mind scrambling for words. He is entirely comfortable sitting alone in the heavy void with his own incredibly complex thoughts. He completely understands that the silence is not a threat. It is a canvas. He does not need the cheap, fleeting applause of average people to validate his reality. He derives his absolute power from his internal matrix, remaining completely immune to the frantic social dynamics happening around him. While you constantly fill the awkward void, you need to understand exactly what is happening inside your prefrontal cortex when a conversation naturally pauses and you desperately rush to fill the so-called awkward silence. Let me ask you a clinical question. Why exactly is it awkward? The silence itself is completely neutral. It is only awkward because your fragile, hyperactive ego simply cannot handle the immense psychological tension of unsaid words. You automatically assume that if nobody is talking, someone must be silently judging you. You violently project your own massive insecurities into the empty space. Because you cannot handle your own internal dialogue, you scramble to find a random topic, a recycled joke, or a completely useless comment. You are literally burning your precious cognitive battery and depleting your daily glucose reserves simply to relieve the agonizing pressure in your own chest. This is a terrible, highly destructive mathematical trade. You are willingly trading your high-level mental bandwidth for absolutely useless small talk just to momentarily soothe your primitive anxiety. You are performing emotional labor for free. When you forcefully keep a dead conversation going, you immediately lower your own social status. You seamlessly transition from an equal participant to the group's desperate entertainer. You become the court jester desperately trying to keep the king's attention so you don't get executed. Elite operators and high-level Stoics never, ever do this. They understand that silence is a highly efficient biological filter. If a conversation naturally dies, they let it die. They do not owe anyone their highly valuable neurochemical energy just to keep a dead interaction artificially alive on life support. By flatly refusing to fill the void, you instantly force the other person to confront their own massive insecurities. You effortlessly take the biological leverage of the entire room without moving a single muscle. You force them to show their cards while you keep yours hidden in the dark. You will absolutely never hear this raw, uncomfortable truth from modern pop psychology gurus or mainstream communication coaches. Mainstream media actively, heavily profits from your desperate need to over-communicate, be excessively vulnerable, and be universally liked by everyone. They desperately want you highly reactive, emotionally exposed, and permanently seeking external validation. The clinical framework of mastering the void is a heavily guarded, classified secret that elite corporate negotiators, top-tier CEOs, and modern Stoic practitioners use to entirely control their high-stakes environments. If you miss this exact psychological architecture today, you will remain deeply predictable and highly exploitable in every interaction you have. Wake up, break your social conditioning, and claim your cognitive leverage right now. How loud men broadcast their internal weakness. Let us critically and ruthlessly analyze the loud man in the room. You know exactly who I am talking about. The guy who always has a rapid-fire comeback, who talks loudly over everyone else, and who aggressively tries to dominate the narrative of the meeting. He looks around the room and genuinely thinks he is projecting immense power. In clinical reality, he is heavily, visibly bleeding cognitive power. Constant loudness and the chronic, exhausting need to lead every single interaction are the ultimate tells of severe internal weakness. He is using his loud voice as a frantic, completely transparent human shield to protect his deeply terrified inner child. When you consistently overtalk, you are willingly handing the entire room your complete psychological blueprint. You are revealing exactly what you care about, exactly what topics trigger your anger, and exactly how desperate you are for their collective approval. You are freely giving dark manipulators, toxic colleagues, and narcissists all the highly sensitive data they need to completely destroy your peace of mind later. You become a completely predictable, easily mapped, incredibly cheap commodity. Information asymmetry is the foundation of all power. When you give away all your information, you have absolutely zero leverage left. Mystery, on the other hand, is deeply biologically intimidating. Silence is terrifying to the human brain. When you flatly refuse to speak, people cannot mathematically predict your next move. Because humans fear the unknown, they naturally project an aura of immense respect, authority, and fear onto you. They assume you know something they don't. They step incredibly carefully around you because they inherently know you possess a lethal level of internal self-control. By simply keeping your mouth completely shut, you instantly upgrade your social status from a loud, desperate, participating clown to a silent, untouchable, analytical observer. You transition from the prey that makes noise to the predator that studies the environment. The primitive brain's need for cheap validation. Why does being ignored actually hurt you physically? When a highly toxic person intentionally uses the silent treatment to punish you, or when a group subtly stops paying attention to your long story, why do you feel a literal, physical burning sensation in your chest? It's not just your delicate feelings being hurt. It is your biology violently turning against you. Your brain is a remarkably advanced supercomputer that is unfortunately running on severely outdated, prehistoric survival software. Tens of thousands of years ago, if your nomadic tribe ignored you, it meant you were about to be cast out into the brutal wilderness to die of starvation or be eaten. Your primitive brain still biologically equates social irrelevance with literal physical death. When you desperately double-text someone who left you on read, or when you loudly repeat a joke just because nobody laughed the first time, you are acting out of pure, unadulterated survival panic. You are acting like a biological slave addicted to the incredibly cheap dopamine of social acknowledgement. You are essentially begging the tribe not to leave you behind in the snow. You must aggressively and ruthlessly upgrade your psychological software today. You have to clinically, permanently disconnect your intrinsic self-worth from the erratic, meaningless, completely unreliable feedback of the average crowd. Average people are highly emotional, deeply flawed, incredibly distracted, and mostly thinking entirely about themselves. Letting their temporary lack of attention dictate your central nervous system is the absolute ultimate form of human submission. You are handing the remote control to your dopamine baseline to strangers who do not care about your grand ambitions. You must systematically learn to starve your primitive brain of this cheap, useless validation so it can finally adapt to true, unbreakable Stoic independence. You must learn to survive on your own internal neurochemical supply. The mathematical cost of your severe inability to handle absolute silence is absolute and devastating. Your desperate, pathetic need for constant social attention is actively destroying your Stoic potential and draining your masculine energy. Every single time you panic and break your powerful silence just to seek cheap validation, you compound your massive neurological debt. You will physically and financially pay for this weakness with a permanently exhausted brain, completely shattered focus, severe social anxiety, and absolutely zero genuine respect from your high-level peers. You have exactly one highly critical minute left to reprogram this massive cognitive failure. If you actively ignore this clinical blueprint, your mind will remain a fragile, easily manipulated prison forever. Listen very closely to these final, highly tactical instructions. The Stoic blueprint to master the void. You must absolutely build your silent, impenetrable fortress starting today. You need to rapidly and aggressively cure your fragile ego and master the highly terrifying art of the absolute void. This is not a philosophical theory, this is a strict biological protocol. Here is your exact clinical blueprint for tomorrow. When you are in a conversation and it naturally dies, do absolutely nothing. Close your mouth. Maintain calm, relaxed, unblinking eye contact with the person across from you and slowly count to 10 in your head. Do not anxiously pull out your smartphone. Do not nervously look away at the floor. Do not make a self-deprecating joke to ease the tension. Notice the massive, terrifying spike of pure adrenaline flooding your chest. Your weak, primitive brain will absolutely scream at you to say something, anything, just to relieve the heavy social pressure. Let that weak, primal urge violently die right there in the dark. Endure the highly uncomfortable void. Step into the fire of the silence. Let the heavy, crushing weight of the quiet force everyone else in the room to panic instead of you. Watch them desperately scramble, stutter, and over-explain themselves to fill the gap. Watch them reveal their massive insecurities while you remain perfectly still. Sit quietly with your own terrifying power and realize that the sheer lack of noise absolutely cannot hurt your physical vessel. Train your central nervous system to find absolute unshakable ataraxia, pure peace in the unsaid words. Your own complex, highly analytical mind is your ultimate impenetrable sanctuary. You do not owe anyone your precious words, your highly valuable cognitive energy, or your cheap entertainment. But the loud, average masses completely exhaust themselves chasing meaningless, cheap validation. You are busy building an unshakable, massive empire in the quiet shadows. You are fiercely protecting your cognitive battery at all costs. Master the void, weaponize your silence, build your absolute stoic shield, and you will become fundamentally untouchable. Subscribe to successfully master your own primal psychology. Hit the bell icon right now to secure your mental leverage. Check the elite, highly classified resources in the pinned description below. Protect your powerful mind from the loud, incredibly weak crowd. Conquer the absolute silence and become the undisputed master of your reality today.